Hi, Brett Schaefer here with my 15th installment of What's Up at the InSource Group. And today I have as my special guest, Christian Zani. I've known Christian from our days working together in IT staffing here at the InSource Group. Christian is currently an assistant director and executive recruiter for a Big Four firm. He's responsible for strategic efforts in identifying, qualifying, and attracting partners, principals, managing directors, and directors for North America and Latin America. This includes support for the tax technology practice. Additionally, he's provided strategic support for the advisory practice such as SAP, Oracle, program management, digital transformation, risk, and global cybersecurity. He has a degree in journalism, and he's also a huge soccer fan, and he's a DJ on the side. Christian, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Brett.
Appreciate it. Great.
Glad to be here.
So you went from the staffing side of things from recruitment over to the corporate side.
I did, the dark side.
That is the dark side, that's right. What's the biggest difference between the two?
You know, I think I first of all I have to give credit to my staffing days because I think it kind of laid the groundwork in terms of where I am today. It's a different pace. I think on the agency side, you tend to move much faster pace.
Right.
It's kind of what have you done for me lately in terms of just getting candidates hired in a seat. I think in addition, it's the speed to market is very important. Whereas on the corporate side, the pace can be a little bit slower. In the professional services world or consulting services world, it can take a little bit more time in terms of bringing people in, attracting them. But I would say those are probably the big differences. And it definitely took me some time to really understand the pace of working with our hiring managers and our leaders as well. Versus where on the agency side from a talent acquisition standpoint, I might be working with an account manager who has that relationship, so it's a little bit different than what you typically might run into the agency
and
side.
You probably deal more with executive level positions and all full-time positions as opposed to contract positions with all different types of technologies.
Correct. The majority of my focus is executive level. So these tend to be the people who are either existing partners, principals, executive directors. And they are full-time positions.
Right.
Correct.
So what was that transition like for you?
I will say it took me a little while. Prior to joining the current firm I'm at, I worked for a consulting professional services organization called SunGuard, and I'd gone in there, and thank goodness I was able to have someone mentor me along the way and help me out, a good buddy of mine. And it took some time because it was understanding not just the business, but how we go about understanding utilization, getting people staffed up for projects, working with different executives and some of the partners I had to respond to or answer to. And so it was definitely a transition, but that also helped me pave the way to go into where I am today, and I am grateful for that. But even transitioning into the firm I work for today, it definitely took some time. It took about a good solid 6 months. Yep.
Absolutely. What's one of the biggest challenges facing a Big Four accounting firm in the hiring process?
I think a lot of it, the good thing about working for a firm like the one I work for is, it's not so much attracting the talent because we have the brand recognition, people know who we are. I will say, especially one of the areas that you mentioned, tax technology, it's finding, that's a pretty unique blend of having someone who has that technical background, but then has also done the tax side of the world. So it's very, niche, but, we've really invested a lot of, money into the areas of these, tax technology and other technology areas where we have people, interested in doing what we're doing. So we're doing a lot, with artificial intelligence and machine learning and obviously the digital transformation, that's going on in today's world. And so, so being able to tell the story of what we do at the firm I work for is very important, and I think that's what really, sells people.
Right. When you hire a principal, I'm just curious, how long is that process from like when your hiring manager gives you this particular rec and then you start your search until that person is actually found and they actually come in and start on day one? How long of a process is that?
Great question. I would say, when I first started with the firm I was at, or I am currently at, started out with advisory. And I do have one candidate. It took us 18 months from the moment that
18 months.
I talked to her to where they're actually sitting in the seat they are today.
On the staffing side, we get nervous if it goes along past 3 weeks.
Yeah, you get the boot. I'm kidding now. But I will say on average, typically at the executive level, you're going to find people on average 3 to 6 months. And that different factors can play into that. That can be, because they have a non-compete, or it could be them transitioning, their role over to someone else. But on average, I would say that we really try to strive to keep it under 6 months, if not
Wow.
sooner. Yeah.
Do you work with passive candidates?
I would say the majority of the people I work with are passive
Really?
people that typically have not updated their resume. But as a firm collectively, we work with a lot of contractors. We work with a lot of people who might be out there looking. They're very technically skilled, and so we have a broad range of individuals that
Right.
we're going after. But in terms of my role, I would say the majority of people tend to be
Is that
passive.
wow?
Yep.
Wow. What are some of the biggest challenges that you guys face, in trying to attract talent in this candidate-driven market that we have right now?
I think that's probably, as you mentioned, it's definitely a candidate-driven market. I think one of the challenges that we run into is, especially on the tax technology side, is having to compete against the Googles and the Apples, that might be so far advanced in terms of what we're doing. But I will say, there's a lot of people that don't want to get lost into the Googles and the Apples of the world, and so they are looking at organizations like where I'm at. And so a lot of times it's they may not think of a Big Four firm as being a technology company,
Right.
but we are doing a really good job about that. I think some of the other challenges is just finding really those we're really big on high performers, and so
Right.
we want to hire the athletes, and so for us it's not just going after and I don't want to discredit people who are talented or who might be good, but we want people who are going to be able to take us not just from point A to point B, but that
Right.
that are creative, that are leading the way, that they're leading in their areas of expertise and technology.
So what do you find yourself doing differently as a result of this market that we've got with candidates right now?
I literally was on a call today with one of our partners about this very thing, and we were having to find creative ways and try to understand. A lot of it's brainstorming with our leaders, understanding
That's good.
who their network is,
Right.
who the people that we can go after. A lot of times it's going out there and trying to find creative ways, such as conferences, depending on the specific skill set, or see who are our competition is, understanding those people in the market, and understanding, really staying close. We do a lot of competitive intelligence, so we stay close to what our competition is doing, the rumblings that they might have in terms of are they laying people off, why are they laying people off, what groups are they laying people off, and then we start devising a plan of going after those people.
When you say competitive intelligence, is that tracking what your competitors are doing, and analytics, and kind of maybe what they're doing to attract talent?
Yeah, so
Okay.
a lot of it, we have individuals who might go out and want to read, or they might be reading articles that are publicly
Okay.
out there. A lot of times it's educating themselves as what is my competition doing in terms of some of the advancements that they're doing, whether for example RPA or blockchain, and understanding okay,
Right.
these are the key players. Sometimes it's understanding what candidates share with you, like, oh, by the way, I interviewed with such and such company, and
Right.
asking those questions, right?
You can gain a lot from that. Okay, virtual workers. It seems like, how does your company handle candidates that want to work remotely? Because we're seeing a lot more of that here.
Yep, I'm actually a product of the virtual worker world. I probably spend 95% of my time working from home.
Okay.
I would say I'm more productive at home than I am.
You are
in
more
the-
productive at home.
in the office. I mean, you have the minor distractions,
Right.
where you might be on a conference call with a partner and dog starts barking because the FedEx guy showed up. But honestly, it's one of those things where I feel like it allows a lot more flexibility in terms of your day. We're huge on work to life balance, and it's what we call it the workplace of the future. And so people who don't necessarily aren't necessarily on the client facing side, they're going to be out there, working from home, and we spend a big chunk of our day, on calls. It saves us from having to deal with the constraints of traffic and, getting to and from a
Right.
place. And then also, we're set up to do business via Skype. We have phone calls. We have different ways that, that
So you have some structure to your day
We-
with keeping
yeah.
in contact with people, whether they're in the office or
Yep.
that they're working remote.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, it really is an honor system. But at the end of the day, it's like everyone knows. You can see if someone's online. My partners, if they need to reach out to me, they have my cell phone.
Okay.
They have ways of contacting me. So it's never like you're just kind of on a lone island out there. I will say that one of maybe the drawbacks is of not having sort of people to interact with on a daily basis. But I will say, in the Dallas, the Dallas team specifically, we do a really good job
Right.
about interacting with each other and kind of doing events after after.
I
hours, too.
can't help but think your years of on the staffing side of the desk, didn't that have to help you because you've learned how to manage yourself? You know what you're good at.
Yep.
You know where you need to improve yourself, and you're probably more qualified to work remotely.
Yeah.
Because you know the job has to get done. Not everybody's wired like that.
Right. No, you're right. I think there is a high level of self-discipline in doing what you're doing, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to show up in your work, you
Right.
know, and so.
You have metrics you have to reach as well.
We do. Yeah, we do. In terms of hiring, in terms of, I will say I'm not micromanaged, but at the end of the day, my body of work tells its story, every, quarter, that we have our reviews.
Okay.
Or, at the end of the year as well. But, I think at the same time, if someone truly wants to go in the office, we have what we call hoteling. So
Okay.
you can actually go in and check in into an office or a cube, and have that. And some people do. Some people like that option to go into the office. So it's not like you're told to just work from home the entire time.
Right. Okay. Do you use a different method when you're recruiting millennials versus Gen Xers?
So in my role, I don't. So essentially, what we would call campus recruiting from a millennial standpoint.
Right.
I mean, now obviously, I know there's millennials that are obviously older than and have since graduated.
Right.
But from a millennial, I personally don't, because I'm really working with individuals who have been working in the professional world 20 plus years now. But I will say, in terms of what we do as a firm, very very good at is we really target individuals early on in their campus campus career. So when they're freshmen in college, we're already engaging them. We're presenting them, whether they're an accounting student or someone interested in going into finance or tax or whatever. They ultimately are interested in hey, this is a firm I'm interested in, and we engage them early on as freshmen, and we start engaging them in internship opportunities, and we
Okay.
really stay with them and engaged throughout their career
Right.
as a college student,
Right.
right? And then when they come to the point where they're going to graduate, we've already
You got them
spent
there.
for you, and they know our environment, they know our structure, and it's a very effective one.
I think your larger firms and your big four firms, they have that down pat. I think a lot of smaller to medium-sized companies don't have that
Yep.
advantage, and I think that would help them a lot if they did that. It's almost like recruiting a high school athlete.
Yeah.
You're going to follow them,
Yeah.
because of the social media. Now you
Yep.
can follow them from when they're a freshman or in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And now you're doing that in college to see if these are people that you can groom to become full-time employees after that, they get
Absolutely.
that degree. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think on that topic too, where I've seen something that we've done really well at, and even other organizations that I stay close to through some of my professional networks, is that they engage students, who are high school. So, STEM students, they're starting to talk to them and understand, hey, what are the things that you're passionate about?
Right.
And then, they kind of have, like, for example, one of the things that we do is a college mentoring program. But, we're even working with high school students who have somewhat of not concept, but an opportunity where they kind of present like a Shark Tank thing.
Oh,
And they
okay.
get judged on it, at the high school level. They present it, and some people get to go to New York, after they win they win like scholarship money. So it's really keeping people engaged, and I think a lot of technology companies are starting to do that more in attracting students.
I think
early
they
on.
have to, because
Yeah.
there's just not enough of the younger folks getting into technology, and
Yeah.
I think they need to groom them into the type of work that they're doing there.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
you talked about organizations. What organizations do you kind of belong with outside of your work?
So this is something I really I started doing more of when I joined the firm I'm at today, and it was professional networks, which have really been valuable in terms of just again, working from home. It allows me to socialize myself out
Right.
there, but also it's really given me an appreciation of a lot of the different organizations out there. So I'm a part of our Association of Latino Professionals for North America, called Alpha. There's also our LPN, which is our Latino Professional Network. I was born in Argentina, so that's one of the reasons
Right.
why so many Latinos. But then I'm also active in other areas, such as just from an executive coaching standpoint, learning and development. These are things I never thought I would really get into, but
Right.
But I'm grateful for some of the mentors I've had where I'm at today, and they're saying, hey, you should, if this is something you're passionate about, get into it. And so
Right.
those are things I'm really excited about doing.
So you kind of do it not only from a self leadership standpoint, but also to network as well, both yourself and the
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you never know who you're going to run into. And I've had the opportunity at some of these conferences that I've attended, like Alpha was at Las Vegas last year, and you run into people that you would never really, like at a Starbucks, who's
Right.
a partner of a certain company that may not be looking, but you stay in close contact
Right.
with them.
That's
and,
how you start recruiting them.
And you start
Interesting.
recruiting them. Yep.
Social media. What means do you use to brand, market, and advertise both yourself and your organization?
Yeah, so from an individual branding standpoint, a lot of it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You can get involved with professional networks and so forth, and They do a great job in terms of marketing these different events. From a social media standpoint, as a firm, I think we do a really great job in terms of using different avenues. I wouldn't say that we have the Twitters, the where we post certain roles depending on the levels of experience, but we also try to build our brand through sites like LinkedIn, and whether it's through videos like this one,
Right.
interviews, a lot of what our leaders are doing, specifically to the practices that we're focused on, whether it's through digital transformation. We want to make ourselves known, and so a lot of times we use tools like LinkedIn Elevate. In the past, we use tools like Smart, which allows us to promote different articles about what we're doing as
What
an
the company's doing,
organization.
right.
Sometimes people
Right.
use that tool to promote jobs. So it's really just getting out there, and the bigger your network is, whether it's through Facebook, LinkedIn, you're really just getting yourself out there
Right.
and branding
Okay.
yourself. Yep.
Cool. What do you enjoy most about what you do?
I think probably the biggest thing I'm passionate about or that I love is being able to be at the table with our leaders, and really seeing the cutting edge and bleeding edge of what we're doing
Right.
as a firm, and being a part of those conversations, and them coming back to you and being a subject matter expert in certain things. Right now, I'm in the process of we do these badges, and one of the things I'm learning right now is digital transformation. And I'm really trying to get to where I'm spending about 20 to 30 hours on this to get this badge.
Wow.
But what it really the tool is valuable for is to allow having those intelligent conversations with our leaders and saying, hey, did you know this, or have you guys thought about doing this? And they're coming to us not just from a candidate standpoint, knowing who that candidate is inside and out, but understanding also what their needs are, and then them really relying on us, to make those decisions. So I love that. And then from an extracurricular standpoint, it's being able to be a part of learning and development, coaching and mentoring, other
Right.
people as well.
Very good. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
You've had success throughout your career, but do you have a success story that you can share with us that's happened to you maybe recently in the last 6 or 8 months or so?
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably say the one thing I'm very proud of, and this has probably happened within the last year or so that I've taken, or essentially with one of my colleagues, taken over the tax technology practice for recruiting, is it's a relatively newer area for us. And so as we've been building out this team, our leaders have come out and say, hey, we need to go after some really key individuals. And I've had the opportunity to be instrumental in hiring some of our top level AI, cognitive,
Right.
very scientific people who, have got ties to MIT. Just crazy individuals, and just the immediate impact that they're having on our business. And so one, just being able to be instrumental to that, and then just hearing our leaders' feedback saying, hey, you guys have become the A team for tax technology.
Right.
And so that's a very proud thing that I'm happy about. And because it's still it's still new to me in terms of that realm of being able to combine tax and technology. I get excited about it. I get really geeked out from an IT standpoint, just seeing what's out there. And so, yeah, it's been awesome, and we're continuing to be the go-to people.
That's got to be pretty cool if you're a person that found somebody to help that organization take the next level up,
Yeah.
and you're seeing that person do it. You're like, what, I had a big hand in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's most important to you in working with the company? What do you look for?
And working with the company or the firm, I think a lot of it is the investments that they're making in the people, and being challenged. I think
Okay.
no 2 days have been alike. And the one thing I love, and I just keep on coming back to, the growth opportunities, being challenged, and just the investments. They are truly saying, this is an area that we're investing in. They're putting their money where their mouth is in terms of making sure that we're because that's what attracts. The
Absolutely.
quality and the fact that, hey, this is something that we're hedging our bets on, and, whether it goes through or not, people see that. And one of the things that I will say that it's such a great thing to see is how collaborative we are, really across, the organization, partners reaching out to us, and
Right.
vice versa.
Very good.
Providing feedback to each other, how can we improve and so forth. So, and those are
Right.
things that are very important to me.
You talked about your managers. What one or two things keep your hiring managers up at night? Or what's the ones that they keep calling you, like, Christian, we got to help. We need some help on this.
Yeah, I think this whole disruptive digital transformation age that we're running into is really, really what keeps my hiring managers up is what keeps our clients up. What are we doing to get them across the finish line on some of these things,
Right.
or how we are tackling these certain issues at hand that they're encountering, and so where I work is it's been awesome to see. That they don't just jump to a solution, they fully understand what the picture is, and then provide different scenarios as to how they can really overcome that. And a lot of the stuff that that existed in the past, from a tax standpoint, might be obsolete in the next year or two, or it's been archaic. And so being able to help and manage that change that goes through,
Right.
For our clients is very key. And our leaders are great at doing that and really telling that story.
Right, man. This has been great. Christian, thank you for the time. The
Absolutely.
information you shared with us has been fantastic. I hope the audience is also walking away with this with a better understanding of not just what the recruiting process of the Big Four is, but what other recruiters in general encounter on a daily basis, as well as Christian's perspective, on the market. Again, thank you all. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next Monday.
Thank you, Brett.